How are you? My name is Brigitte Teta, here with you every Saturday night between 9 and 10 o'clock. You need to pat yourself on the back, actually, for making it through the inspiring stories. I don't know if you've spotted the women who've been taking to social media to share their stories, their experiences of breast cancer. Well, Alice Mpofu Coles is from the Zimbabwean community in our area, and she's been doing just that.
There's a time when I woke up one day, I just couldn't cope. The pain of the operation, looking at my kids and thinking their father had died when they were 1.5. I'm a useless mom.
More of Alice's story between now and 10 o'clock. But I'm Brigitte Teta. If you're just finding the show for the first time, listen, you're really welcome. I'm here every Saturday between 9 and 10 o'clock. We always play some great music. It's normally, soul, R&B, that kind of bit of Afro beats whacked in there. I'm also bringing you some incredible stories, and you are just in time to hear another one. The reason why we talk about this subject right now, we're about to chat about breast cancer, is because some of the rates for black women are really alarming. Black women in England almost twice as likely to be diagnosed with advanced breast cancer. That's compared to their white counterparts. The latest analysis actually was conducted by Cancer Research UK and Public Health England. And many experts think that the reason why this is the case is because the awareness of symptoms is low amongst some black women, and also they're less likely than their white counterparts to go for a mammogram when they're invited by the NHS. Well, this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and black women have been taking to social media to share their stories in a bid to save lives, get people to come forward from the community. Well, Alice Mpofu Coles is a well-known member of the Zimbabwean community in Reading. She's been sharing her story online.
It was in 2007 when I realized that something was wrong, and I'd just come from a weekend of protest on a Saturday in London. And then I was sort of massaging myself, and then I felt a lump. And it just shocked me all of a sudden. And that's how I discovered there was something definitely wrong. It was not pain from lifting the placards. It was the lump.
I wonder, what did you do at that point?
Well, I saw the GP. The GP straight away made the referral, and within a completely 2 weeks of running up and down and going to hospital and having that biopsy and coming back to get the results within a space of 2 weeks, the doctor just telling me, yeah, it is the big C. It is the big C.
Tell me how you felt as you were hearing that news.
You don't hear. You sort of don't hear. I couldn't breathe. I was just thinking, my children, they are so young, and what am I going to do? One of them was less than almost 10 years, and the other one was 16 years or so. So I just couldn't process it at all. It was difficult, very, very difficult.
I wonder what was the reaction from friends and family?
I'd come in this country as a refugee in 2002. I didn't have family. The only friends that I had and family that I had were my children. And my friends that I had were my work colleagues, and the whole family was in Zimbabwe. And the isolation of just saying, how am I going to get through this difficult thing with two children, young children who I have to drop to school, I have to do other things with, and I was a lone parent by then, was one of the most devastating things for me. My colleagues at that time, I was working as a social worker. They were amazing. But they were quite shocked also. And more or less, everybody started telling me that that day they went to check their breast. It changed them totally.
You had lots of incredible support, but I wonder if there were any kind of attitudes or people said anything that was either hurtful or misinformed, because we do know that particularly in black communities there is misinformation about cancer, particularly breast cancer.
It's not something that is talked about a lot. It's something that is sort of like you feel shy about. I know that historically my auntie, my mom's younger sister, died of breast cancer at the same age that I was diagnosed with cancer, which is 42, 43. And she died, and she never accepted it. She refused to have an operation for the breast to be removed. She refused anything because of the stigma that goes on with, I don't know, it has something to do with the breast are supposed to be something that you are, as a woman, you should be proud of having that, and you're supposed to have breastfeed children if you have children or anything like that. So the stigma just carries on with so many people deciding either not to deal with it effectively at the very first beginning.
You know, you talked about, you know, your family in previous years. It was a different generation being quite guarded about it. But I wonder, did anybody say anything, or, you know, did you encounter any bad attitudes yourself?
I was fortunate in the sense that where I worked, people were very, very nice. But in my book, there's a story that I write about. I wrote a book about this. The second chapter is about the gossip in my community, the gossip that was what I call the African tea that was brewed in a cup. Where people had their own analogy and theory about what was happening with me. As a community person and an activist, I'm known in quite a lot of circles in the local community. And that was one of the most devastating things for me, the things that were coming through my own community.
Gossip in what kind of way then, Alice?
Trying to think whether this person is actually having cancer, what is it happening with her. It becomes like probably you've done something wrong, and you are getting this. You know, it's malice on its own, and I feel passionate about why I always want to talk about breast cancer, because anybody can get it. It doesn't.
That's really interesting, because you've touched on something that I have heard in the community before, and that is this: sometimes it comes out of a spiritual belief where they believe that the fact that you have cancer means that, you know, you've kind of done something against God in some way. Some people attribute it to a lifestyle that you're leading. Is that what you were hearing in terms of this rumor mill?
Yes, it is. And you sort of walk with your tail in between and start thinking, oh, what's going to be talked about now? I'm hawking, I'm looking thin, I've lost weight again, because cancer can affect you in a lot of ways. Your hair is falling, I had dreadlocks, all of them started falling, I had to cut them. So it's all those kind of things where you're struggling and you're thinking you need the support. But without the people that were in my office, the white community, I mean that with a strong emphasis, the white colleagues in my office, the people in Amnesty International is a member of that, the people also at Reading Refugee Support Group, I could not have managed, because my whole family is in Zimbabwe and I didn't have anybody.
If you're listening to Alice's story and thinking, I need some help, don't forget there is plenty of advice on the BBC Action Line webpage. So head to bbc.co.uk. Coles is a well-known member of the Zimbabwean community in Reading, and she's been sharing her story. Now she's about to share what happened during some of her lowest moments in her journey. And some of the detail, I must warn you, you might find distressing.
So there's a time when I woke up one day and I just couldn't go on. I just couldn't cope, and I just wanted to go. It was early morning at 3 a.m. and I had so much pain. I was bleeding like somebody having a lot of periods. The pain of the operation, looking at my kids and thinking, their father had died when they were 1.5. I'm a useless mom, and it is time for me to leave this earth. I used to wake up and fall down, and my little daughter will come in. I wouldn't reach the toilet. She would bring the bucket. And it's all those things which I cannot explain in a short time, but it's those things that ended up breaking the back and saying, I can't do it anymore. And I was just saved by the TV that my daughter left didn't switch, and there was something happening, and I started looking at that, and it took my mind off.
Just a really small act that kind of helped you get from what could only have seen, lots of darkness and pain to something else, just anything else?
Yeah, it is. I'm just tearful right now talking to you because I don't. Those are the moments that were darkest in my life, very, very deep darkness. And I had one of my friends who worked at the UN, who flew and came and stayed with me for a month, Ruth, and slept on the floor every day, waking up, cooking, and making sure that I have a quality of life, actually telling me, wake up, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. You have to live for the sake of your kids. You can't give up. They don't have anybody. And all those things, it's immense. People don't realize how just love, just simple love and good spirit and good vibes can make somebody live through cancer. It's not the medication. The medication was there. It was good. What was killing me was in the mind. The mind was playing up with me.
Part of your treatment did include a mastectomy.
Yes, it did.
I imagine when you've had this operation, which changed you physically, that must be very tough as well.
It was very tough because you wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and you think, okay, that's why I call them the poached egg breast. I looked at myself and thought, well, there is nothing, absolutely nothing. Is this been fed to the dogs? Where has it been thrown? Is it in an incinerator? Where is it gone? Is it mincemeat? It's just gone. It's just plain like that. And there's nothing. There's a big, massive operation. And the self-confidence of being a woman, again, I don't know, it's the tradition of knowing ourselves that breast means something. It also hinders you. You wake up and you feel, I'm not. I don't feel like that. I don't feel the same again. And you can never be the same. I can never emphasize, Bridget, how much you are never the same again. Never. I still have to deal with the pain of the reconstruction, and I'm under the pain clinic since then, which was 2008. But I still carry myself and saying, we need to do something. We need to talk about cancer in black communities, in white communities, in any color. It affects anybody. It doesn't choose race. It doesn't choose whether you're female or male or whatever you are. You call yourself. It's just that.
Tell me, what is the situation now, Alice? How are you?
I am okay, but it's been very hard with the COVID because most people who have had cancer, the fear that because we are still quite vulnerable to infections in a way, they say. Although I'm no longer, I don't have cancer anymore, but you're still sort of worried about, if I get COVID, maybe I've got something. Literally, after almost 10 years or so, you still live in that fear of saying, if there's a twitch, there's something, you'll think, oh, it's coming back. Is it or not? But I try to live as positive as possible.
What I love is that you have taken strength from your journey, Alice, and you've written this book so other people can learn from your experiences.
Yes, it's mainly the anger of every day when I went to the chemotherapy, I'll sit there and write. It's just simple, everything I wrote every day.
Finally, Alice, we are talking to members of the African and Caribbean community, members of other minority ethnic communities who might be listening to this and might be worried about something, but feel like they can't come forward, or maybe they have been diagnosed with breast cancer and feel that they can't talk about it. What would you say to them?
What I would say to them, don't worry about what the world is going to say. Worry about yourself. Your body is your temple. Just do it. Even if your family doesn't understand or your community, just do it.
Well, the book is called Dear God, From Your Poached Egg Breast, there, from Alice Mpofu Coles. If you want to read a little bit more of Alice's story, you can get that book online. And don't forget, if you've been affected by Alice's story in any way and you're looking for help, head to bbc.co.uk/action line.